broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
One of my favorite songs of the night, for sure. But welcome, AfterBuzzers, to another Glee After Show. We're here on YouTube Live today, and you can always find us on YouTube at youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV, as well as on iTunes and SoundCloud. And you always can tweet at us. We love hearing all your theories and news and everything you've been tweeting at us already, but tweet at us using ABTV Glee. So, and I'm Stephanie Wenger.
Hannah Prichard.
Hi everyone, I'm Marisa Serafini.
I'm Roxy Striar.
And we're of course talking about Season 6, Episode 5, The Hurt Locker, Part 2. What did you guys think? This felt very different than the first part of The Hurt Locker duo. I don't know what to call it. Yeah.
We did pick up right where we left off, though, so I was glad that at least we did that. Yeah, it was different. I have to say, I love this season. I'm loving the season. I love the episode. I thought it was great. I know that I've been looking on social media, and people seem to have vastly different opinions, but I really enjoyed it.
See, I love the beginning of this season, and there's parts of this episode that I really enjoyed, and then other parts there I was like, oh, I wish that had been a little bit different. And we'll get into that specifically in a few minutes. What did you?
I think it was definitely the better part of the Hurt Locker parts.
Yeah.
So I'd say it was definitely the better part. Overall, I really did like this episode. There were moments towards the end where I didn't like some editing stuff, but we'll obviously talk about that with the songs.
Yeah.
Picky.
I did like this episode. It was fun here and there, and how they threw in so many different things in a matter of how many hours that they're going through. I thought it was really fun, and I really liked, we'll get into it, but actually seeing the new directions sing.
Yes.
That was fun.
Agreed.
See, and I missed the original directioners. Like, I appreciated the songs, and they were all fun, and there's different things about them, but there was a part of me that was just like, I still, like, we have Lea Michele standing here, we have Chris Colfer, like, why are we not hearing them sing?
Yeah.
And that was frustrating.
I agree. I want to hear a Rachel Berry ballad so bad. It's silly.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we're going to get one soon, though.
Do you think any of this has to do with the fact that maybe they don't have as much time to rehearse anymore? Because maybe they're working on other projects, some of which we're aware of, some of which we're not.
I mean, that's very possible, but I feel like
They're still contractually.
Yeah, I was like, their first priority would probably still have to be Glee.
Yeah.
I would imagine they're still under contract.
And they are standing there.
I don't think so either, because if the first 1-2 episodes, we still had a full lineup of 7 to 9 songs. How many songs? So it's not like that they have less amount of time to rehearse or anything. It's just we're giving bigger storylines to different people.
I would love to get a hold of one of their contracts, though, to see, because I know they have it down, like how many songs they have to sing every season, how many, what types of different songs, what notes they do it to that specifically. So,
and it's interesting because now we're complaining about that we're not getting enough of them, and it used to be, I think, the contracts were there to protect them so that they had enough, that they were getting enough like songs and things. So it's kind of switched, I feel like, in a lot of ways.
Right.
It's an interesting move. But maybe we should jump into the storyline tonight, the first one, which is Blaine and Kurt. I felt like that was the one that stuck out most to me in some ways, and I know Roxy just gave me like a eye roll.
It was more like a smile and stare to the side. It's confusing. It looks like my eye roll, but not the same meaning. This is my favorite thing that's going on. Like, I'm just completely obsessed with this storyline. I think that's why I love the episode so much. Sue is out of her mind, and I missed that Sue. Like, from her with the fork to her dealing with Klain tonight, she's out of her mind, and there's no other word than obsessed. So I think that this is awesome. The elevator part was awesome. Watching them kiss was like the most moving amazing moment.
I just wanted
Absolutely.
them to be like, oh, we're happy together and we're back together. I wanted that kiss just left me being like, they should be together, guys.
But don't you want the struggle? I'm excited for the struggle.
Me too.
I love the whole thing. And I mean, that little, was it Saul that creature came from? Yeah,
Saw
whatever.
from Saw.
It was
hysterical.
so funny, but actually terrifying. I kept actually thinking when I was watching it, I was like, if I was in an elevator and that little thing rolled out, I would be horrified. Absolutely horrified. It was funny.
I think
the
a lot
concept.
of people would be horrified. I mean, it was a funny
Terrifying.
concept, especially from Sue. That's a creepy doll. But it was just enough to give the clean romance another spark that it might need.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
That was it.
I agree. The one thing I felt like it was missing was I think that if these two were actually sitting in a room together for as many hours as it seemed like they were, there would have been a song. I thought
the same.
I thought they'd be like, hey, we want to do a duet or something. Let's collaborate on something. Because I loved the games with the piece of paper and all that. I think it was hysterical. I love what they were talking about, what they were doing. I thought they did such a good job with that. But it would have been an amazing place to put in a song with the two of us.
Yeah, what better way to pass time by singing?
Exactly. That's what they've always done.
Yeah.
I know.
I was gonna say even a little bit of karaoke on one of their iPhones or whatever.
Acapella.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Acapella.
It was a perfect moment for a little acapella number. Perfect.
They
It
could
would
have
have been
totally
so
pulled
awesome.
that off.
Which made me, that's why I asked my question earlier about rehearsal time, because I feel like that must have been a question at some point. Somebody writing the script at some point must have been like, they're
Yeah.
stuck here together. Should we do a song? And they obviously decided not to.
Right.
Why? Why would you decide that?
Good point.
So crazy to me. But my bigger question was, I thought it was so creepy, the Sue doll thing, puppet. I don't know what to refer to it as. So scary, creepy. But was that jumping the shark for them a bit? It felt like a very un-Glee moment to me in some ways.
I
But it
loved
felt like
it.
a very Sue type of thing that her
agree.
character would do.
Oh,
And it's
Sue says it was Becky. I don't know.
just kind of crazy how those two didn't pick up it was Sue in the first place. I'm like, it obviously looks like Sue.
Yeah,
Right?
Clearly. I mean, it was Sasu. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it was. It was ridiculous
Mini Sue.
looking. But I don't think it was jumping the shark because I think that it's so unique, but not in a forced kind of way, and borrowing from culture in a weird Sue form.
See, I can understand that, and then the other part of me was like, Glee is so happy, and there's been poignant moments as well and sad, but not scary, creepy. That's not where it goes very often. And to me, I was just like, wow, this feels really left of field in a lot of ways.
I loved it.
But I did like the ode to the Saw movie because that's horror, and you have to do whatever the clown says or whatever that is. The clown says to get out of your situation. So I liked how they put a more positive romantic spin on it.
I completely get what you're saying, though, about it going to the creepy side. I think if Sue had cut one of their arms off, we would have jumped the shark. But she didn't. It didn't quite get to that let me show you creepy level.
Right, it wasn't like something
Fall
terrible.
through.
Yeah, something terrible happened to them in the elevator. It was just this. I agree. It was edging that way for me. But I did think that they had those sweet moments, and that was my favorite part of the episode for sure. Those sweet, quiet moments between Kurt and Blaine. It's something we haven't had in a while.
I just can't get over that kiss. That was just such an amazing kiss. Sometimes I feel like actors maybe don't necessarily have sexual chemistry, and so when you watch them kiss on screen, it's I know this is supposed to be the most epic kiss of all time, but for me, it's just something about that kiss was so passionate and awesome.
It was. I thought the same.
They both, they nailed it.
I think it was because it was juxtaposed with the song "It Must Have Been Love,"
Which was
so
cool.
it really added to it.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
good.
Good point.
I agree. Also, I just feel like there was something about that kiss that was the fans had been waiting for it, or at least I'd been waiting for it. I can't speak for everyone, but that I wanted it so much that to me it felt really epic.
Does it bother anyone at all that we are now supposed to all be on board with this? It's supposed to be the #1 romance, the epic love story. Does anybody think they're trying to make this take Rachel and Finn's place and it bothers people?
Yes, I feel that way, actually. I feel like almost we're being a little bit cheated on the relationship front in that sense, because I think everybody is a fan of Kurt and Blaine, or I imagine most people are, and I get that probably is a bigger relationship than like Santana and Brittany and stuff like that or whatnot, but I don't feel like it's right that they're trying to make that the main big epic relationship. Like,
do you think that if we still had Finn on the show, that Finn and Rachel would have been together and Klain might not have been together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's weird because I loved the whole make out scene and all of that. I thought it was so hot and great chemistry, whatever. And I was stoked for it to happen. But when they were talking with Sue afterwards, I actually oddly felt that it would be okay if they didn't end up together. When they were talking with them and they were like, we want to just be friends. As much as I think they will probably end up together, it was the only moment in their relationship that I've been like, okay, actually it may be meant to be for them not to be. I don't know.
Well, I also think it's from the audience standpoint, just in general, we're all just rooting for a successful relationship on this show. And right now, they're really pushing the Klain story to be the most successful one right now. Had Finn, and Cory not passed away, we would have been pushing for that to be the most successful. So they're going with the next one.
I agree with that. And so, honestly, as much as I do love Klain, and I loved tonight's episode, I did feel like it was jammed down our throats a little bit because they kept saying epic and like the story of the decade, whatever they were saying or Sue was saying. So that was interesting for me, at least.
Yeah. Don't fight the Klain romance.
That
was the line.
Exactly. She ships them hard.
Totally.
I mean, I was a cheerleader for Rachel and Finn, obviously, and I've
Cheerio?
Thank you, Roxy. And I obviously love Blaine and Kurt, but I agree. I think that realistically, if you're looking at those two relationships, Rachel and Finn were probably the more likely to succeed, and they were like the couple that we were introduced to in the pilot, and they were definitely the thing that like I think we were supposed to cheer for in the end, and now they've taken on this like secondary couple. And I think, though, like, fans are getting behind it and it's working. So in that capacity, I think they're doing something right.
I agree, but I was thinking about this the other day because of all the binge watching that people do now. Say somebody's watching the show in 20 years and doesn't know when Finn left the show what happened to Cory.
Right.
The show did a really great job for us while we were watching it, letting us know that he had passed, the character had passed away. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like if I was watching this in 20 years and I didn't know who Cory Monteith really was, that I would exactly know what happened. I think I would be kind of baffled with why he left the show.
I completely agree with that because like
point.
They covered it, whatever, and not to like go back, we can't redo it, whatever, but it never, I don't feel like they've ever fully grieved it in the show as much as they should have or whatnot, and I understand that may be for production sense and for the cast and crew and everything like that. So, that's not something necessarily to be commented on, I feel like, or like to judge so much.
No, I get what you're saying, though.
But I agree with you. If I did not know the story years later from now and watched it all, I'd be like, this should be a bigger deal than I feel like they're giving it. You know what I mean? Or pay more attention or flashback to it or whatnot.
They have. There was
in light ways.
I mean, even tonight's episode, they did the jersey.
Right.
So, like, every once in a while, we do have the mention of Finn and what happened.
True.
Right. I think it is important to, as you said earlier, this is kind of a light show, so we have to keep it like that, and we can't dwell on it all of the time.
Right.
But I was just thinking about, of course, this show set itself up so that was supposed to be the it couple.
Yeah.
And when you ship a couple so much, and when you go back and binge something, if you see that they're not together anymore, I would just be like, what?
Right?
Yeah.
What are they doing to us? Why are they trying to make Klain replace them?
Yeah.
Well, after the last moment was so epic, and then unfortunately he passed away. So, like,
Exactly.
I completely understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's an interesting, the way that they've gone about it and kind of gotten everybody to, I don't want to say move on, but like move on to a different couple is what I mean. Like,
Right.
it is interesting, for sure.
Exactly.
But should we now talk about this big invitational that we've never seen in all the seasons?
All right, that's what we were saying, but then somebody commented on our YouTube that that's what Rachel Rhodes was doing, that she was there for an invitational. You guys know this invitational thing confuses me. It confuses me. I said it last week. I'm baffled by it, but if that is true, then...
I mean, I don't think it's ever been... Maybe it's been mentioned that there is some invitational, but I don't feel like it was ever like a competition in the way that this felt much more like a regional or a
2 episodes long.
than
of 12 episodes or 13.
Right, than we've ever seen before an invitational being. So it felt much more of that competitive spirit going on between these schools.
I agree.
Yeah. But did you think that the right team won, that of course New Directions won?
That's hard to say, only because the way they went about winning, I had a problem with. Where they were singing the songs, catering to just Sue, just because now we know that Sue's the one officiating it, and she's a judge, which that, I don't know how they allow that to happen, but she's principal, whatever. But the fact that they changed their complete set list just for Sue's placation, it didn't feel like it was Glee. It felt like it was for Sue.
I, first of all, think that it's crap that they won. For lack of
so
better
glad
words.
I asked that question.
For lack of better words, because I think they should have come in 3rd place. You know, I don't even think they were in 2nd place. I thought they did a really good job for what they had to work with.
Yeah.
But because it was Sue being the judge, I thought they were going to come in 1st place after they stole the songs. And they, you know, if you can get what the judge wants and give it to them, then you're going to win. Period.
Right.
That's how things work. I thought Dalton blew everybody away. I thought Dalton, and they came in 3rd, which, so if I was the judge, I would have completely flipped the entire order. And again, I thought the New Directions did a good job with what they were given. But one of the rules was there had to be 12 of them, and there weren't.
And they passed that. They're like, okay.
So,
Wait,
can
yeah, I'm
still
just trying to
let you
remember.
perform.
There's like 9 of them now?
so it's
7.
Roderick, Kitty, Spencer,
counted
Madison,
6.
Mason, and Jane.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
there was
6.
6 at the
Oh.
end.
6.
For some
Okay.
reason I kept counting 7.
Yeah.
Did I miss somebody?
No, there
No?
were 6, because they
I just
counted on
can't count.
stage.
Yeah.
There's only 6 of them.
There's 6 of them, so that I believe that's half of
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
Good job.
They're halfway there.
So they didn't even qualify.
But they won.
They
so
won.
No, it's just an odd that like they can throw these rules out, and Sue made a reference to it that like that's the only rule that like they ever care about, but they obviously still don't care about it.
Yeah.
But
And
why?
Sue changed some rules during the competition. Remember that? She's like,
It has to
only
be old
these-
school.
Yeah.
Was that one of
Yeah.
them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she changed things mid competition.
Yeah, after one of the teams had already performed.
Yeah.
I also couldn't believe Rachel. We've talked about Rachel as a role model, and that she would allow Kitty to break into Sue's computer, and she's standing there.
She even said that. She was like, I probably shouldn't let you do this. I was like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
You're a teacher.
Yeah.
They call you Miss Barry. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like watching this happen, and I kept thinking like, is she gonna get fired again? Is this where this is I mean, I don't think that in actuality. I think that she's not gonna get punished for it. But I kept wondering, is this like she's really gonna fall on her fate? Like,
And they made such a big point of having us know that she wasn't the one who asked Sam to steal Mr. Shu's mail. This is worse than that.
yeah.
Like, what she did, I think, at an actual school would be considered, well, no, like, stealing somebody's mail is a felony, but...
But like all the steps they went through to get these songs, like 2 passwords. So it was like a binary system.
And wasn't one of them like something Bolton from
Thunderbolton
Bolton 69. Yeah, I don't know what that
Well,
means.
we know Sue
Yeah, of
loves
course.
Michael Bolton.
Well, she carried his child.
Exactly. That's right.
That just like slips by everybody all the
I know.
time.
Like I heard that password, I was like, "Yep, that's totally Sue."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I wonder what the other one was. They didn't share it with us.
I know. I was waiting for that. I was like, okay, guess we don't care about that one.
We might find
Maybe it'll
out.
come back. Yeah.
I also wondered if, like, in the writer's room, they had, like, a wall where they were just writing up all these passwords, because you know that was not the first one they came up with.
Oh,
like,
no.
they had a good...
I wish I saw the runner-up.
Yeah. So amazing. I feel like tonight we saw a lot of, like, the return of, like, amazing little things from the writers. Maybe not even the return, but just
I
these
agree.
amazing little, like, I don't know, lines from
They've got to
writers.
put it all out there because we don't have. I say it every week, but we're getting closer and closer.
It's crazy to me that we're in episode 5 already.
I know.
How did
I
that
know.
happen? Like, I don't even know.
What was the point when Sue was like, there's 6 more weeks, 7, depending on whether the network gives it.
Network preemption.
We
That was
laughed
such a
about that.
shout out to just Fox.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
Also,
love that.
again, that self-awareness that we always talk about. Like, so they're so aware of what they are at this point, and
Right.
it's really, really funny. And Sue's lines tonight were spot on, I do have to say.
Absolutely. And then again with the fork to Will. I couldn't with that.
So
know.
funny.
But I did like how she brought it back because now it's like full circle. We're done.
With the fork?
Yes.
It's like this is what started
She had it in
it
the
all.
bag, though.
And this is what
Psycho.
we're ending it with. So like literally that storyline is done.
Yeah.
And you're glad.
Yeah, they kept it. All right, moving on.
How did you feel about? I'm still confused about Sam and Rachel. They really seem to be pushing for something to happen there, and there's like a
want it.
preview for it
still
for next
want it.
week, and it just felt like it's a little forced to me.
I don't think it's necessary. I mean, it might be cute now. I'm not saying I'm not against it, but I'm not saying I'm completely for it either. I mean, if you want a good relationship, just stick to Clayton. It's fine. We don't need...
And Britannia.
Yeah, it's... Rachel doesn't
forget about
need
Britannia.
yeah, of course. But Rachel doesn't need to finish this show with somebody.
No, she doesn't. And I agree with you, but I still like it. I just think it's like a fun little side relationship. I think for some reason I feel like she needs to have some sort of fun relationship and maybe have some sort of revelation at the end that she doesn't need to be with somebody or anything like that. I think that would be totally fine, but to me it's something fun to watch still without all of these serious, you know what I mean? They keep throwing in all these different topics and storylines, but they're like serious topics, you know what I mean? And aside from that, they're just focusing on the relationships we've already had. I think this is just a fun extra one to throw in there to keep everybody still like, hey, you know, did you see this or whatever?
I think I'd be perfectly fine with that if we were in the middle of the show. If we were
Yeah.
in season 4 and we knew, okay, we have till season 6 and this is a fun, like,
Fling.
fling
in
for
between.
them, like, great. I just don't know that I want it in these final few episodes. I want something, I don't even know if it's greater or just different for Rachel. It feels like this, it's easy, he's here. And I feel like that's never been from the pilot what she's about.
I put my foot down. No. I'm miserable watching it. I mean, even when he comes in, he's like, but I'm in love with you. And she's there and she's like, what? And what he's doing, obviously it's not his fault because he's hypnotized.
Right. Yeah.
But it just, except for that one performance last week, that was amazing. And I felt the vibes there because they were performing together, and sometimes that happens with artists. Other than that,
cute.
I will not let myself slip. My foot is down, and I am against it, for sure.
I don't know. I totally get what you mean, and it does feel that forced feeling to me because they're like, we need to have her be with someone, and it's the end of the series. But I think I also agree with you in that it's a fun thing. I just wish it wasn't season 6.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I liked as a fun thing? Just, I don't know, I felt like for a second when they were on stage together, but it's not going to happen because he's gay and she's straight. Well, are you going to say Spencer and Kitty?
Yeah.
Spencer and Kitty.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they like looked at each other and I felt like they were undressing each other with their eyes.
Dude, but I'm in love with him.
I'm so
I
obsessed.
spent a good time like Instagram stalking him after this episode. I'm not ashamed.
All right.
I follow you now if you watch this.
His character on the show is really cool. I wish that we got longer with his character, but
Agreed.
we're not going to. All of them seem to be cool.
Yeah.
But now I'm invested. Are they trying to do
know.
this on purpose so that we get some sort of spin?
Like the
I don't know.
new direction.
Right.
But I don't think that's a bad thing. I feel like so many things I feel like frustrate all of us watching this last season, but at the same time I feel like if they did all the things we wanted them to do as appreciating this and putting a homage or whatever that word is to it being the last season. Homage.
Homage, yeah.
Beautiful. I said it right the first time. But if they did that, then I almost feel like they would just be giving up on the entire series. You know what I mean? I feel like they would just be doing what they should do, and that's never been Glee's way. I feel like Ryan Murphy's mindset would be like, why am I going to do that just because it's the last season? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, it's also, we did see Will's character tonight say a line. He's like, I put my best, you know, whatever. Like, he wanted the best team. He created the best team that we as the audience knew and loved. And I think that's what they're going with this season that Rachel is trying to create the best new team that we can all know and love.
I love that he said that, and I also loved when he said it's important to have a nemesis. It makes you better about Sue, and I was like, yeah, he gets it.
Yeah,
he gets what she is.
Rachel nemesis? Still Sue.
Yeah, I think everyone's
Still
nemesis is Sue.
I mean, yeah, I think that it's interesting because you start to see the parallels between Mr. Schue and Rachel, and how in some ways, even though they seemed very different when she was in high school, they're actually in a lot of ways very similar.
Yeah, I would say the same.
True.
And we always thought that obviously Finn was the one who was similar to him, but there was a little bit of Finn and Rachel too, which means that there's a little bit of Mr. Schue and Rachel.
Yeah. And it was interesting to see her like really listening to him tonight, because I feel like a lot of times you would see him giving these amazing pieces of advice and she'd be like, whatever, I'm gonna go be the star. And for the first time, I felt like in a long time we saw her really kind of digesting that information and being like, wait, you're right, like there is something valuable here.
Yeah, and it's nice that Will's still giving this worldly advice to Rachel, not to his own vocal adrenaline team, but it's still to Rachel.
sad.
Like, Rachel still has a lot to learn.
But I can't remember his name, the guy on his team.
Clint.
Clint.
I did like, though, that now he has somebody to slightly be invested in on his team. Like Clint at the end saying how this is still important to him, too, because he's a senior. I actually really liked that. I was like, great, because that's giving Will Schuester, like, still an opportunity to be who he is in his own team, with his own team. You know what I mean?
Right. It's important for him to be a mentor, even though we're not invested in Clint or any of them. We're not invested in vocal adrenaline at all. We should be, if Will is, and he needs at least somebody. I liked what you guys were talking about, too, with what he was saying to Rachel, but I thought that the person that was more poignant with Rachel today was Kitty.
Oh, yeah.
And everything she said.
Was that a surprise to anyone, though?
No, it wasn't a surprise, but I forgot how, because I always kind of relate Kitty to Quinn and think of them as the same entity, but they're not. And I just thought it was very well phrased what she said.
Yeah.
And I thought she knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I think that Kitty tonight, we kind of saw, oftentimes, I feel like last season we just were like, oh, she's the blonde cheerleader, and that's why you equate her to Quinn.
Right.
But, like, we kind of saw that there's another side to her, and there's something deeper there.
Yeah, and I liked how Kitty can get over, yes, she has been done wrong and whatnot, she had past transgressions, but she can be that better person, take the high road, and come back with moral lessons and still, like, helping everyone else out. It's like, yes, we're going to go down some trying times, but you never want to degrade Glee because it's going to do so much for you.
Right, but she doesn't get far enough off brand, because then, she comes back and she's like the fat one, the gay one, the one that nobody cares about, whatever it is, the incest twin. So I was like, oh, she's true to herself, but also I think she's really going to help the team.
Yeah, but her character growth,
I kept thinking about how Kitty, in a lot of ways, like Sue has the mean and the nice side. And you kind of saw that in Kitty tonight, that there's, like, the really mean and, like, goes after people. And then there's this side of more kind of, she understands what, like, the bigger picture. She's street smart, I guess, is the best way.
A lot of people look up to their coaches, so the fact that Rachel turned out a little bit like Will and a lot of the Cheerios turned a little bit like Sue, it shows that how much influence an adult can have on an adolescent.
Yeah.
Which is cool to see.
I agree.
Which is why she maybe needs a little Rachel in her life. So.
And what did you think about Sam mentoring Spencer?
Really cool. I knew this was going to happen. It was foreshadowed when we heard Sam say, "If I was the coach, then I would start you as quarterback." And I think that they can relate well to each other. It just makes me nervous because he's under this weird spell, so what if he does something bad to Spencer? I don't want to see that, because we love Spencer.
But I did like the message that Sam gave out. It's like, yes, Glee's going to do so much for you, too, because, again, you can't fill Finn's shoes, but, he was that leader as well, and so can you be.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. What did you think of Spencer singing tonight? I will get into the songs in a second here, but this was something that I wrote down that I wanted to ask you guys, because we didn't hear a lot of his individual voice, and I was wondering how strong it is or isn't. Like, we saw him, I think, sing earlier this season, and I loved it, but it just didn't feel like he, like, stood out amongst the crowd tonight.
I felt like he didn't have enough time to sing in a particular song tonight, because granted, we had 3 different songs, but it was more catered to 3 different singers. And he maybe got like 10 seconds, but it wasn't enough to be memorable.
It was weird to me that they made Roderick audition after hearing him for a few seconds, but they didn't make Spencer audition.
They were like super excited to have Spencer.
Right.
They need people.
Yeah, but they needed people when they had Roderick come, you know?
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
I don't know. I just felt like they were like, oh, crap, we only have a few episodes left. He's just got to be part of the crew.
We don't have time to deal with this.
But his actual voice, you know, I think his character is strong enough that his voice is, I wasn't upset with it, but it wasn't the strongest of the new members. I think Roderick just knocks it out of the park. His voice is outrageous.
I agree. I do like all the new characters. It's just kind of, I think I'm still missing like the other half. I still want to see like the Lea Michele and all of that, having Chris Colfer and like you have and Darren Criss, like you have all these amazing singers right there and they're not getting on stage, and it like for me personally I found that really frustrating.
Right, but I could listen to Roderick all day. I'm not
Absolutely.
He has one of the best, one of my favorite voices on the show. I don't mean to say best because everybody has a different opinion and they all are very, very talented. But that quality to a voice is something I really appreciate.
But also, it's the message of Glee this particular season. It's the students becoming the teachers, passing it on. So I get it. We, as an audience who loves the original New Directions, we want to see. I mean, there's so many. We want to see them sing, but as their job in the stories, they have to teach and do unto others.
Right.
I agree. I totally agree with that. But let us know what you're thinking. You can go on iTunes or YouTube, rate, comment, and we're always live on YouTube every week, so we're looking at your comments and all of that good stuff. So let us know. Woo! Exactly. Let's jump into songs. I feel like it's time.
Yeah.
So the first song of the night was, let me flip back.
I'm
so glad
really
no
good.
one else needed it. That was amazing. You guys knocked that out of the park. Let's just be clear.
Totally.
It was the
We didn't even
Warbler.
plan it.
I know.
Perfect.
The Warblers singing it. This was like not the best start for me. I thought it was like, you guys did a great job. I liked the song. I don't know. I didn't love their rendition of it. I didn't hate it. It's just like okay for me.
You liked it less than their other song. It was your least favorite of the
two that they sang tonight. I liked the second one better, which was You Spin Me Around. We can just talk about them together because they were kind of a joint.
I love that
I
song.
just wrote lots of spinning, and that's all because I don't know. Warblers are good, but their performance, just those 2 songs compared to everyone else having 3, it wasn't memorable. It wasn't like, okay, wow, mind-blowing. It's just like, okay, good, fun 80s song. We've all heard them over and over again. They're spinning around, right round on the stage, and that's it.
I don't know.
I love that song though. So I loved it.
Did you have a preference between which one was your
Well, You Spin Me Right Round obviously is going to be the one I like better just because I like that song. So
I really liked both of them. I thought they sounded awesome. It was energetic. It didn't feel like last week we were talking about how Vocal Adrenaline didn't feel like Will at all. This felt more like Blaine, but not fully at Blaine's potential.
Yes.
There were some strange theatrical dance moves, and I'm a total theater geek, so I love that kind of thing, but some of them were a little off, but I thought that they did the best of the 3 groups.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, especially the second song I really liked. The first one, it's weird, because normally I'm like, I really dislike this, or I really like it, and it was just kind of like, okay. It left me wanting more, which is good, because they had a second song.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know how great the show thought they were, because they put a lot of different things over it and, like, made them quieter.
Yeah.
When we had the elevator and their... later on even with different songs, but whatever it is, they kept lowering the music, and I was like, ooh, this is an interesting thing that they're doing.
crazy.
Yeah.
It drove me crazy. Angered me so much. But anyways.
No, I agree with that. What did you think of It Must Have Been Love, which was Kitty and Spencer, of course, and the whole New Directions crew?
I think it was a great background for what Marisa was talking about earlier.
Plain.
That was really cool. But,
Plain was the only good thing about it.
yeah, but then again, they're lowering the song, and
See, and I loved it, and may have been because of what it was the background to, but I thought it was like a sweet number. I didn't think, again, like, oh, it wasn't like the best or the worst. It was just like a sweet, it fit that moment, and they did I thought a nice song selection as well on that.
I felt like the song selections were really great for them, but I still liked them more than I have the past couple weeks. I was getting a little bit more of my like emotional fill from it.
Just like Sue?
Yes, but they kept cutting back and forth to Sue, and it took away from the actual performance. I was like, you're almost giving it to me, and then you're taking it away before I can even fully feel something for it.
I know. I completely feel like that because
driving me crazy.
The first two groups had no cutting back and forth, and then when we finally get to our own people, now you're taking us away to something completely unrelated.
I wanted it to at least be flashbacks that we'd seen or could relate to, but like you're saying, there was nothing there. We're watching her lose the role to Julia Roberts, Pretty Women, whatever, you know.
Scarface,
I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, so? Like, I get what they were trying to do, but all the things, you know, if it had been flashbacks to moments with Will or Rachel, then we could have invested a little more, but it was like
really random.
The flashbacks only showed why Sue were like pick these songs as emotional. These were her personal failures in life that makes her emotional. So I mean, I got the message, but it wasn't needed.
If there was ever a time to put Michael Bolton in Glee, though, this would have been it.
I mean, a dream.
Yeah, that would have been an amazing flashback.
I agree. What about father figure? That's the next one, right?
Yeah.
I did really like it.
I mean,
but that's because of Roderick.
I was gonna say we started our episode with it tonight, and it was just a really fun. I don't know. I liked the number.
I couldn't love him more. It was my favorite episode, favorite song of the night. It was, and just his voice is hauntingly beautiful.
He can sing.
Yeah,
I mean,
he can sing for sure.
Incredible. Just like gets up there and rocks. It doesn't. I kind of feel like he's one of those singers though, where it doesn't matter what the song is, he's gonna like blow it out of the water.
Yeah. He is so attractive when he's singing too.
It's so true.
There's something about him. He's just got that vibe. It's like laid back.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna like record deal after Glee.
Oh, completely. And break hearts.
Yeah.
All across America.
Amazing. He was one of my favorites. And then All Out of Love, which was the final number of the night, Air Supply, Mason, Madison, the whole deal.
You know what? I gotta say, this was my favorite one. Only because I was the most surprised out of Mason's talent.
Yeah. I was surprised too.
His voice was phenomenal. And then listening to that, I was like, I could hear a full album of just him singing.
I can get that.
Great voiced, especially to that song.
I thought Madison did a really good job too, but I agree that Mason killed it. My problem with this was, it was I was expecting a different kind of song. I don't know. It's a little similar to the first song for me that they sang, and I like this song a lot. I have this song. I listen to this song, but it felt like we were on a Genius playlist.
Yes.
And I wanted them to show different range.
I completely agree with you. Could not have said that better.
Yeah, I feel like
High five, girlfriend.
Yeah. I feel like you and I are on the same page on that. I know.
Never.
I know. It's crazy. Like, I appreciated their voices. I felt like the song, as much as I listened to it in my like personal and the original, I think it's great, but it's just not. It just didn't feel right in that moment.
Right.
I loved it because of Mason. I knew he was
Is
amazing.
Mason the new?
I'm really glad, though, that they didn't have huge dance numbers, because that would have been brutal. We would have been like, there's no way you tackled that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless you brought Mike Chang in to teach you #where's Mike.
But they did poke fun at that. They won only by sitting on stools.
Yeah. They did. It's true.
I mean, again,
Self-aware.
Yeah, self-aware. Took the words out of my
But
mouth.
sometimes self-aware doesn't mean that I like what you did.
No.
You know, even though you know what you did, doesn't mean I have to like it because you know it.
I mean, I think like sometimes, yes, you're pointing it out because you know the audience is smart and you're playing into that.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that it's always the right choice.
Right,
So
but at least we got the dancing with Dalton, so this was a nice juxtaposition.
I agree. Are you ready for news and gossip?
What you got?
Love. All right, so news and gossip.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
Love. All right. So, I can't believe this is the case. The Glee cast will be singing their 700th song this season. I remember when it was like 500 or 100. Like, I feel like 700.
Oh my gosh.
How much money do you think that they have made on iTunes, or how many downloads do you think that
Or
they've
just
had?
royalties
Insane.
in general.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
A lot.
insane.
I wonder how many downloads they've had off iTunes. Oh my God.
I mean-
700 songs.
Yeah, 700 songs, do you want to know what the 700th song will be?
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Yes. Spoiler! Woo! Oh, so What the World Needs Now, which is a Burt Bacharach song, and it's celebrating Britney and Santana.
Are they singing it?
I don't think they're singing it. I think that the others are singing it to them.
At their wedding?
I can't confirm that. Can't confirm that. I would guess that could be the case. And then also, a little news, Amber Riley returns, which is super exciting. I know we've talked about that. Creating an awkward love triangle between Mercedes, Rachel, and Sam.
Is it really a triangle? Just a triangle.
I am only telling you what I'm reading.
I feel like it is 3 separate dots.
I know.
Like, on 3 different planets.
I mean,
It probably is.
Are they connected? I don't think so.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of questions in that love triangle and how it's all gonna. I know Marissa's looking at me like I should never ever call it a love triangle again.
Yeah, because I don't think it is.
Yeah, and the second that Rachel heard that he still had feelings for Mercedes, she backed off. Like, there's no way Mercedes comes back and Rachel's like, but I want him.
Yeah.
I mean, unless she does, and then I guess there's a way.
I mean, and Sam says he's still in love with Mercedes, but is Mercedes still in love with Sam?
No, I never liked them together.
Oh, don't get us started.
Like,
Mercedes.
Because even is Mercedes reciprocating that love? I don't think it's a triangle.
We saw one moment between them. We saw one moment between them, either the first or second episode, where he said something and she kind of blew him
Yeah.
off.
Exactly.
So
she's not reciprocating.
Right. Oh, he says, "Are you still doing that virginity thing?" or something
Yeah.
like that. And I was like, "You really don't get her."
No, I mean that's what's so interesting is that these are 3 like individuals, and so it's going to be interesting to see how or if who I guess Sam ends up with is really the question at this point.
Or if he ends up with anybody. This could be the end of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Interesting. Well, we'll get into that in a second with predictions. But Diana Agron, everyone on Twitter has been going crazy over this, whether she'll be back, what's going on, and she is rumored to have left. But I feel like it's the end of the series. Everyone's leaving.
Yeah.
No, but supposedly we saw her last episode, is what people are saying.
Allegedly, she's still been filming. So I don't.
If you think about it, supposedly she left the show 2 seasons ago, and
Yeah.
we're still seeing her. So I think it's just,
Yeah.
just last minute rumors.
I think that I saw like paparazzi photos, and you never know how accurate this is, but that she was like leaving the set and having lunch after filming.
She's
so.
not gonna not go to Britannia's wedding.
Exactly.
I mean, that would mean, because the writers wouldn't have done that, that would mean that something would have had to happen so big that the actress decided in the last season she couldn't show up. And even if she's not in any other episodes, are you serious?
Yeah.
By the way, didn't she sleep with Santana? And does
She did.
Brittany know that?
That's so true.
An interesting point.
One time?
Well,
But the
yeah,
Glee members know that, which is surprising.
yeah.
How did they know?
Well, tweet at us and let us know what you're thinking about that, because that's something that I'm gonna have to ponder past right this second. So that being said, also Diana Agron premiered her new movie at Sundance. It's called Zipper, and it's with Richard Dreyfuss and Patrick Wilson. She plays a young intern who tempts her boss. And it apparently
She's tempting.
Yeah, so something fun to check out. It's like obviously an indie film, but something that you should definitely get your hands on if you can.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So ready for predictions?
Yeah.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Anyone got a big one that they want to jump in with?
I have a couple.
Okay, I'm glad.
Okay.
So, God, go for it.
We mentioned tonight that maybe who's Rachel's nemesis, and we're thinking Sue, but I think for a nemesis for Rachel, it'd be someone like her own age, and we see Clint threaten Will at the end of tonight's episode.
Oh, no, he didn't.
And I can kind of see Clint maybe going against New Directions and scheming against Rachel and them.
I dig
so
that.
he could potentially be the new person trying to bring down the New Directions from another school. Because
Interesting.
we've always seen the school rivalry, and we haven't really seen that yet. So I think he could be the person
I like
at the
it.
point of that. And then I also think Sue will have like some serious punishment to the new new directions for getting her passwords and abusing her emotional songs.
So do you think Rachel will also receive punishment for that, or just the kids?
I think the whole, everyone, Rachel and the
across
kids.
the board.
Sue has another thing going against.
You're all fired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some punishment.
I'm sticking with, I still think that the way we're going to get these other 6 members as part of New Directions is they're going to be old Directions that are transferring back in. Sam's going to help out. Rachel's going to go on a hunt. That's what I think.
And also,
Agreed.
we did see Rachel mention, like, those other past New Direction members as well. This is the second time we've been referenced to them, so I think they're going to come back.
Right.
Yes. I think we saw the coach of the deaf school in this episode.
Yes, the police.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, the police
what his name
officer.
is. So I think we're going to see them at some point, and maybe he could be some sort of nemesis or work against them to some degree. I also think that at the wedding that Kurt will bring Walter, and and Blaine will, obviously bring Karofsky, and I think that will cause a little bit of jealousy.
And Krofsky will eat the ice cream. So weird.
And
Yet they had their second date.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and Kurt wanted it to be a date.
yeah, and I actually kind of like that.
Maybe
a little
Walter and
bit.
Karofsky will hook up.
Yes, because clearly Karofsky did like older men. We saw
Yeah.
at Breadsticks. So
And I feel like Sam, I don't know, I feel like Sam, when he comes out of this trance or whatever he's in, he's going to leave some pain in his, like, wake. It's like
Yes.
Rachel and all these people are going to be hurt by everything that he's kind of doing, and he'll have no recollection, and he'll have to kind of scramble to figure out
I also
what
think
that happened.
that next episode will be the best episode of the season.
Agreed.
And here's what. First of all, I'm looking now. It seems like we have 8 songs next week, which is something that I've been dreaming for. And
Britannia.
it's just time. and
Britannia.
and Britannia. Obviously, that's why I think so. But I think it's time. We're gonna get episode 6. I think they've stepped up their game, and they're stepping up their game. But we gotta. They only have 2
I mean,
weeks.
we're halfway through.
Yeah.
Next week, it's the halfway point.
And
so
crazy.
do we finally get a Rachel Berry ballad? Because I need one.
I hope so.
If it's not from
need
Rachel
one.
Berry, it's from the original New Directions.
I need a
'Cause
Rachel
they're
Berry
coming
one.
back.
If we have 8 songs, I've got to assume.
Has to.
Got to.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the majority of the episode. If you have 8 songs in an episode, I'm so excited about that, because I feel like songs have been a little lacking recently, so it would
The
be
last
nice.
2 episodes.
We're
for sure.
averaging about 5 songs an episode, so
Yeah.
this is 3 more songs.
So excited for
I'm
that.
so good at math tonight, guys.
You're on it, Roxy. All right, so let us know what you're thinking. Always tweet at us, and go on YouTube, rate, comment. We love hearing everything. And next week we'll definitely do some shout outs to some amazing comments.
Woo.
So let us know. And you can find AfterBuzz on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV, and you can find me at Stephanie Wenger.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TheHotShotDude.
You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV.
And you can find me at Roxy Striar.
See you next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, Gleeks.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.